Uh, All right, let's get this thing started. Hold on. Oh, wrong one. That's also the wrong one. Oh, fucking go with that one.
Alright. Sorry, now I move my shit. Alright, there we go.
Oh,
Hey!
shit, get everybody. Welcome to yet, man, an episode. It's been a while since we've done another We Talking episode. That's on me, though. I'm your host, Dave Germain. With me, as always, is Jake Hamill.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Also, got some gray in my beard. I'm fucking, getting
It's,
old.
yeah, it's the fucking, it's the heat out there, man. I'm telling you.
Wear me down? Jesus.
Exactly. That's exactly what it's going to do. That's that Arizona heat that just it makes you tired, makes you not want to go outside. It makes you subtly racist, but not super racist, but definitely not racist. That's
Oh, no, yeah, it does. Yes. I don't know what, I think it melts people's heads.
yeah,
And like just like the unfiltered talk just falls out,
right.
you know? That's why everyone gives like because I'm from a region where everyone thinks we're racist,
Yeah,
New England and shit, which we can be. We're old money racist, you know what I'm saying? Like we're old, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Where like in Arizona, it's just like it just bakes the filter out of your head, and people who already have the N word in their head are just gonna let it fall out of the face whole time.
yeah. It's almost insulting to think that all racist is the same because there's different types of racist. There's
Oh
hey,
yeah,
I came from an old country and this is what my family believed for 500 years type shit. Then there's the stuff like there's ignorant racism, right? That's just like
yeah,
they grew up in a place where they didn't know any better or they didn't have it. It's a little
yeah,
bit harder to believe that for younger kids when it comes to things like the internet. And like, how do you not know? It's if you've never grown up in a small town, there's a good chance of that, or a
yeah.
closed in community. So there's that type of racism. Then there's blatant hatred that just you do know the differences, but you absolutely still fucking hate people anyways. Like that one's way more rare. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean I've met people like that, but I haven't. It's a lot more rare than people think. So sometimes I'm like, hey, don't love me with those other races.
Like,
Mine's completely
whoa,
out of
whoa.
ignorant. I am trying to evolve. I
Yeah,
just keep saying stupid shit. There's a difference, my
yeah,
friend. And they're like, oh, well,
yeah.
nobody's gonna give
Good
a
lord.
shit.
Yeah, right.
So here we are on YouTube. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Like let's be
Yeah.
honest. This conversation was meant for Rumble, but I haven't set that up yet. Dude. So
Oh,
I've always been trying to find one consistency. Once I'm gonna, you know what? Before I even get into that, I wanted to apologize. I've been kind of, I haven't really been talking to a whole lot of people. It wasn't just Jake here, guys. It was like pretty much. I think I maybe sent one text out to like a mutual friend of ours. Other than that, I was not doing any mics and stuff just because those couple days I spent in Arizona, that and being on getting back on the chemo meds that I was on, it fucked my face up pretty bad.
oh,
So
really?
yeah, it felt like I had a sunburn for about a month on my face.
Oh,
It was really really fucking bad. And my face when for folks who don't know, if anybody's doing like a particular type of chemo, at least the one that I'm on, one of them, Vectavix, it makes your skin fucking dry out all the time. So like, remember how self conscious you might have been in junior high with the dandruff and stuff? Imagine that
oh, yeah.
24/7, but it's coming from your
Dude, that's,
face and everything off your body.
no, I have that issue right now because like I have like I think it's a family thing. I don't know what the fuck it is, but my brother has it too. He's real bad. Psoriasis,
Mm,
right? And I have it like right here on my like bridge of my nose, like right up here, and sometimes right here. So I can use Gold Bond and all that shit.
yeah.
Um, but I can't imagine that being my whole face. I would, yeah. So
It's tough.
I
So I had to learn
that's
how to
nuts.
fucking do like face like. You know what? I'll just say this: if anybody for some reason I'll put "fuck cancer" in for as one of the tags. So just in case anybody was curious, I'm like, yeah. The the problem is that there's a like this gel clindamycin that's supposed to help as far as with the rashes, but it also dries your skin out. So
Yeah.
and then you have to put on like some moisturizer and stuff, and I use like this petroleum based stuff. But the thing is every time you try to wash your like if you try to wash your face in the shower, there's so much dead skin that you end up rubbing your skin raw again, and it just
Oh,
exacerbates all of the
yeah.
it's like you're starting over. You're like, oh, let me get rid of it's kind of fucked. So what I did, guys, you take a washcloth and you get about as hot as you possibly can, and then wring it out and then put it over your face. and do that a couple different times, and then just kind of pat your face, and that'll take off a lot of the stuff without rubbing your face raw. And it kind
Yeah.
of exfoliates, and then you could put on the medicine, and then wait for it to dry a little bit, and then put on the moisturizer, and you do that twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, and then it's a way to clean your face without fucking it up even more, and then it
Yeah.
allows it to heal. So I started doing that, and like in 2 or 3 days, like my face started clearing up, and I'm like, oh, thank God. So I
Oh,
was able
good.
to. I felt like I didn't even want to go outside. I didn't want to like it was even if it was barely if even it was cloudy and a little bit of sun hit me, I felt like I was burning again. And I was
Jesus.
like, jeez, this fucking sucks. And so either way, got all that worked out. I finally did my first open mic in a long time
Sorry. Right
last
in the
Friday.
microphone.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Yeah, right. I did that right into the microphone. I'm sorry.
I didn't even notice, man. You're good.
I turned my head and I turned my head and everything. I don't know. I have to give up the microphone. Sorry, go ahead. Jesus, my bad.
Nah, don't even worry about it. So yeah, either way, we got that whole thing worked out. So I've kind of just now been barely becoming social again, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's the stuff on the like like there's Instagram and different like social media, but man, that is really now that like comics, we shit on people who get way into social media all the time, right? That's just because it's kind of low hanging fruit at this point, you know.
Okay, like define it because I'm on it a lot, but I'm fucking around.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be funny I'm trying to be funny online.
Right.
But it's not like I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just like sharing memes and but it's like an outlet for me to get my funniness out.
Yeah.
It's not,
And that's a healthy way to do it, right? And I've been trying to do that as well. But then I'll be watching YouTube videos and something will like kind of irk me, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna add a comment. But let me see if it's an intelligent comment. And I'm like, so I kind of think of it as a writing exercise. And then I caught myself. I'm like, I wonder if anybody notices. I wonder if I'm like, wait a second, this is getting kind of weird. And then I started thinking, what if this was my only? Well, actually, for about a month, that was my only way of communicating. I would say, I mean, not that people like my cousin calls me at least once or twice a week, which is really fucking helpful. And it just really hit me that I'm like, man, talking with Jim and then my wife Jenny, that was the only social interaction that I had. And Jenny's fucking tired by the time she gets home. So I might talk to her for like a half an hour, and I'm like trying to like hey, this is every thought that I had in my head for the entire day, you know. And that's a lot for one person. And I started talking to my cousin. He's like, "Are you doing okay?" Because I'm jumping. I'm like trying to do the same thing, kind of like what I'm doing now. But but yeah, it gave me an insight for folks who, when the internet is their only social interaction, how it's like. Oh man, it's like trying to drink a big glass of water through one of those little swizzle sticks, and you're just like, and it's fucking rough. You're not getting all the information. It's not getting the whole thing. So I'm like, man, this probably, like we all know it's not healthy, but it was just really bizarre. I didn't notice like myself getting sucked into that whole world, and I'm like, huh, interesting. So yeah, I don't know, man, it's fucking weird. You mentioned that you're getting tired of the heat in Arizona. So have you started making plans? Are you getting ready to mosey?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting out. I'm getting out of here end of August. Nice. I'll be moving to Austin.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Let me know when I get set up because I'm gonna crash on your couch. I got a CPAP machine, by the way. You won't hear me snore. It's fine.
I'll make sure I'll wear my sleeping jeans again, like a fucking.
Okay, give you a little backstory. So the one like. My motivation or like freaking consistency is I have no consistency when it comes to my career. So I'm like, yeah, it was the four of us. It was Jake, Will Mearswell, Bear, and myself were like, yeah, let's see if we could, let's just try if I can see if we can get booked on a show. We'll go on the road. We did. We got 2 shows, and one of them was super disappointing, and the other one was mildly disappointing. But that was okay because it was the first time of them letting traveling comics come in through. That was the Mesa Theater in Grand Junction, which they will always have a special place in my heart because they gave us a chance. We shit the bed. They lost their ass on that night. But after that, they started getting actual road acts coming through. So they saw the potential in comedy. So once a month, man, there was like Jim Brewer's been out there. They actually got some decent names that were coming through there, like known people have been on TV and stuff. So I feel happy that they enjoyed the show. They just didn't enjoy the money that didn't come in, but they saw the potential. So we had a good effect that either way, we all we got one room, 2 beds. So it was Jake and I in one bed, and then Bear and Mirrosway in the other. And that was like when I woke up, they're like, Dave, we were legit concerned for your health because my snoring was so fucking bad. I felt so bad, but I have a CPAP machine now, so all that's fine. But yeah, the sex jeans because Hamill still slept. I brought like friggin' sweats or something to sleep, to change into. But
dude, I was just super tired. Is what it was at the end of the night. I was like, "Fuck this!" I'm laying down, and I still was in my jeans. It's still my fucking. So everyone's poking my balls, being like he's wearing his walking jeans. He's wearing his, all this stuff, his sleeping jeans.
Yeah, they're like, dude. Because I remember, obviously, I won't mention the name, but there was another person you were contemplating asking out on a date, and we just kept, we're like, dude, you gotta put your fuck jeans on and give this girl a call. All right.
Right. So, I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna go off a little tangent here, right? Sure. I kind of had a weird awakening about that. So. I've identified my issue with that, and the reason why I go overboard with shit like that. I don't know why. It comes off creepy, and I understand that. It's like a little psycho-y, and I don't mean it to be. And the reason why is because my ADD, right? My ADD, I go from 0 to 100 real quick with a lot of shit, and that's one of them. Because the dopamine rush is fucking insane. It's like drinking from a fire hose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why it is. And when people go 0 to 100. I mean, it's either 0 or it's 100.
Yeah.
There's no 73 miles an hour. There's no 46 at some point. I'm literally, it's like going to the moon. Like it's like a rocket ship. It just goes up and I can't control it. Because I figured that out recently. Right? Because an old friend of mine who I had feelings for a long time ago. They're intense. But we've just stayed friends the whole time. And then as we got older and as we got separate lives in different places, we stayed in contact. And like we're just very good friends, and I love her to death.
Yeah,
she's one of my favorite people. I've known her for like 15 years, and all that old shit came back. And I started realizing like, there's no way this can work. Let's say hypothetically, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna spill my guts to you, and let's say hypothetically she says yes. How the fuck? I'm not moving. I don't want to move. I do not want to live in California.
Yeah,
not happening. Not fucking happening. And I'm moving the other direction to Austin. And she doesn't want to leave San Diego because she loves San Diego.
Yeah.
So logistically, this makes no sense. But like, when you dopamine shit in your brain, you fucking weird. And I like literally fucking calm myself down and realize like, yo, what the fuck is going on here? And then I kind of looked at, I did some research into it. Also, I've been looking into therapy too. Because it sucks. Because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I know what the problem is. I just don't know how to really fix it. But at least I know now.
Yeah.
But like whenever I had any of those episodes with certain people, it was because I didn't have a throttle. I can't look at someone and go, oh, she's cute, I like her. I immediately go to, I wanted to marry her, have kids, and fucking, and live a magical life.
I know that feeling that you're not alone on that, man. Yeah. That's that I've done that many times.
That's such a heavy thing to throw at somebody when you first meet them. It's fucking strange.
Yeah.
That's a red flag. And if I'm a woman, I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah.
You'd be like, what the fuck is this? What are you doing? And I get it. I understand it. But I don't know how to fix the problem because it's like I go into this weird autopilot. Whenever I'm in those situations, whenever I'm like thinking I got something going on,
right.
I go into a weird autopilot where it's just like, no, we're going to the moon. Fuck you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, out comes the dopamine, and now I'm just like making irrational fucking decisions like a moron. So it's a thing I got to work on. But at least I know what it is now.
Yeah, and you know what? Freaking romantic stories in Hollywood doesn't help because there's always these stories of this guy that takes a chance and I'm gonna write a song and show her how much I love you, and like, that really creeps the fuck out most gals, and I know because I've done that. I've creeped girls out before, and
the whole John Cusack holding a fucking boombox shit.
Yeah, exactly. Wearing a trench coat outside of a girl's bedroom. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah.
It's like when I say it out loud, I'm like, oh, you're right. That is pretty fucked up. But at the time, we're like, dude, that guy's like playing music that's not on the radio, and like. He's playing deep music. What
helped me figure that out is actually it was a joke from Dan Soder. Well, by the way, big fan, dude. If you don't listen to some of Dan Soder shit, dude, he is underrated. He is one of the most. He's so. I mean, and he's fucking great. Everyone knows he's good, but I still feel like he's underrated. He's that good.
Right.
He's so fucking fun. He's like my age and speaks to kind of how I think too. Mm. And he had a joke where he goes, having a crush is fun. He goes, you know, it's like, it's really fun. Like you get a text from me, like, ooh, you know, you get a phone call, ooh. Yeah. And then you tell them, and they're like, ooh, but if they're not into it, you're like, oh, shit. He goes, it's kind of like showing someone a dead body. Like, come here, I want to show you something. You know, it's underneath this tarp. Right. And then he's like, oh my God, what is it? Oh. And then it's like, he pretends to pull up a tarp and goes, oh, she goes, oh my God, this is what he says. And he's like, oh yeah, fuck, sorry. We should go. I was just like, fuck, God damn it. Like, that's how you know, and it's fuck. I shared it on my Facebook if anybody wants to find it. But it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was funny. Yeah. It was hilarious. It spoke exactly what I was thinking, like as far as in that moment, and it opened my eyes to the fact that, like, yeah, dude, like you're gonna end up alone if you continue this shit.
Or the only thing that's the fate that's slightly worse than not quite as bad as death, but close to it, is finding somebody that's really like that melds with that, and it ends up just being like you end up like fucking with each other because like her type of broken is fucking with your type of broken, and nobody could ever get better. And instead of like people like growing together, they just devolve together. And they're like, you know, like, well, I was a good person, but now I'm not, because
it's like you're bleach and she's ammonia.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, yeah, we go together, but it's not going to clean anything unless, you know, your soul out of your body, you know. Dude, yeah. I almost passed out at a urinal because of that once. Like, I had, gosh, what was it? I think okay, this is so stupid, but I mentioned this because I had asparagus the night before, right? Which fucks with your pay, right? So the guys in the restaurant who were cleaning the bathrooms at the Fuddruckers, they actually didn't clean it. They would just pour bleach in the thing. They wouldn't even flush the urinals. They just poured bleach in the urinal, like filled it.
Oh no!
So when I go there and I'm like, I'm taking a pee, and suddenly I could hear this crackling because there was a chemical reaction that is Hattie down there. I look down and I start getting fucking lightheaded because of all the fucking fumes that are coming up from mixing basically bleach with ammonia. And I was like, God damn it. And I'm trying to explain it to these guys. I'm like, hey man, at least like that's not great, you know. And they're like, whatever. I'm like, these fucking guys.
So that's whatever. Can you imagine getting sued by someone because they passed out?
Yeah.
Because they pissed. You know what I'm saying? Is that what happened?
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be like, you stupid fuck, what you put bleach in this for?
Well, whatever, it's clean. I'm like, dude, it's shit like that. Actual is a reason that I can't watch that show, The Bear. That one about that, you know, the guy from Shameless.
Shameless, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, it just brings up too much PTSD for me. Like, there's. That's
how I feel, but I feel like that about Shameless. But go ahead.
Yeah, you're just like, it's kind of funny, which I don't know, man. Because the guy's a really good actor, and I believe that he's like, you know, he is an he's not. I mean, he's the type of character that he plays. He has started at the bottom, but he's also been really trained well in this particular school. He's worked at high end places, but he has to deal with these folks. And this reminds me so much of the Bennett's Barbecue, this place that I worked at, that these guys have been doing the same shit for over 20 some odd years and thought that they knew everything about what it was. And I'm like, dude, our barbecue fucking sucks. Your smoking sucks. Your work sucks. Like, I would try to, you know, like show them, here, try this. This is something I did. They wouldn't, like, I would smoke a brisket. And then I'm like, can you guys try it this way? They're like, oh, no, my teeth is bothering me. I can't eat anything right now. And I'm like, you piece of shit. Because every time I've ever fucking worked in a kitchen and I'm like, here, and I would make a burger, I'm like, this is the reason I taste the difference in this. Like, I don't want to eat. And I've sent people home. I'm like, get the fuck out of my line, you know? And they're like, why did you do that for? I'm like, because you're lying to me right now. First of all. Second of all, you don't want to taste this food because you fucking know it's better. and you don't want to change anything the way you want to do, and this is when I start going into Mr. Nick mode, where I'm like, you want the fucking restaurant to close, don't you? You just don't want to show up to work, but you're too much of a pussy to get another fucking job, and you're waiting for somebody else to make the decision for you. How, and like and I would just fucking get really, really, God damn it. So this is what I go through every time I tried watching that show that everybody said is great that I would like. I'm like, I don't like this. Like, why don't you show a picture of me getting the shit kicked out of me when I was a kid? That might be less traumatic than this. But yeah, it was so weird. When that place closed, I know everybody. I mean, granted, my last boss, there was challenges that I wish he would have done things a little bit better, and I'm sure he feels the same way about me and other folks, which is fine. But the thing is that I know everybody's going to point at that dude instead of saying, like, you guys never noticed that every Texas barbecue place in Denver had better food than us? Yeah. Did you not bother to see the new types of smoking technology and techniques? Did you ever bother to even look at that? Or you thought, hey, this was the shit in 1985 and there's no reason to change it? Like, that's not how, like, those guys, they knew how to cook, but they weren't cooks. They weren't chefs.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot for me because I fucking hate chefs and or I hate culinary grads. The majority of them. There's a couple of good ones out there, but for the most part, every time I've heard this. Hey, my passion. I have passion for this. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about your passion. Like, I give a shit about what you could do. There's a lot of people I know. How many comics do we know that really, really want to be a professional comic? And they have a lot of passion, but they don't, like, really, what about being funny? Could you do that?
Yeah.
But.
No, I mean, I like the guy that's like, just show up and do the same fucking 5 minutes or 5-10 minutes every fucking time.
All right, fuck.
Yeah.
The only one person that I would not give shit that to because he is super fucking dedicated was Jeff Cohen.
Well, look, I mean, he does, but like he does have some new stuff. He does try to fix.
Oh yeah,
shit.
But there's jokes we've known him doing jokes and stuff, and I remember I think Zach Welch was giving him shit about it a long time ago, and it pissed off Jeff. But like, the thing is, I've seen Jeff do those jokes in like under like real crowds, not open mic crowds, and he does fucking really, really well. And it's because he's been working on that material and stuff and fine-tuning it for like 8 years, 9 years. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, that Jeff is my exception to the rule of doing the same set over and over again. And I'm like, well, if you're actually working on it, but or let's see, the dude is only goes up, or the comic, I won't say dude, the comic that the only reason they're on stage is to justify them hanging out at this bar and drinking with their friends all night. Yeah. Which is understandable because, I mean, we both know you hang out in the scene long enough, eventually you're just kind of like, you get used to just hanging out and, talking with people, and or at least with other fellow comics, and you're like, hey, were we supposed to be working on a career? I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. Here, hit this.
Hey, man, I'm guilty of that shit too, man.
Me too.
I'd rather be outside ripping cigarettes and fucking talking shit with my friends, and then all of a sudden they're like, Hemo, you're on. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yes. You didn't plan. Fucking run out there, don't have any materials. Well, let me tell a joke about my grandmother again. I've definitely, and that's going to change. Because of the fact that out there they have, dude, I can do like 20 mics a week.
Yeah. I would say they have about as many. I think they probably have more mics in Austin. Probably.
That's why I'm going.
Yeah. And then,
because
I was gonna say, man, on top of that, they got 3 clubs within a block of each other. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, and also there's a lot of people out there that are looking for they'll probably look for features. There's probably people looking for features.
Yeah.
And I got the material, I got the time, I know how to do it. I just got to get back on it again. And it ain't gonna be like riding a bike. The first, like, I don't know how long. I'm gonna suck for a good grip of time.
I think you're gonna be rough for about 10 sets. After that 10 set, I think you're going to be surprised at how quickly a lot of that stuff snaps back. And I know this from experience. I know this from experience. So, not so much with, a little bit with comedy, but when it comes to like acting, anytime I do like any acting work like that, I get really nervous. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this anymore, man. Like, after about 5 minutes of actually working on a script or rehearsal, everything comes back. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. Because you've already did it. You're not discovering, you're just rediscovering. You're like, oh, okay. So I think you'll be back up there. I think if you spent more than after like 10 sets or something like that, man, I would fucking head over to the clubs and stuff and start working there, you know.
Well, the guy who's the guy right now who's kind of like my eyes and ears over there right now is this dude named Hunter Carney,
mm-hmm.
and I've known him for years, and he is the guy that kind of got me to do this. As far as like he's the guy I talk to,
Mm-hmm.
and he was telling me that like he's hanging out. It's kind of it reminds me kind of a Denver, but like more. It's like a bigger high school version of Denver.
Yeah.
As far as like there's gonna be like certain pods of groups of people
mm-hmm.
that are gonna fucking form. And he goes, you just got to know which ones. And he goes, and it's, you know, you just got to pick the right people. And I'm like, fair enough. Because like, the problem is that a lot of people there, they don't really want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They want to have fun and do it kind of, but they don't take it seriously.
Right.
You know, or they're not really that good per se. I guess this is what he was kind of telling me. Mm. You know, which again is in any scene. You know, Denver's got those people. Yeah. You know, that's fine. I'm just saying it's just part of the ecosystem. Someone's got to be the fucking crab.
Yeah, know? I always wonder like where exactly like this is so weird. I remember like I've been so out of it obviously, and this is the thing is like I can't kick myself in the head too much because in my mind I'm like I don't care how fucking sick I was. I should have been able to get out there to a mic, but no, I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like,
yeah.
Oh shit, you know, like my cousin and Jenny have to tell me this all the time. Like, you put in fucking horrible fucking chemicals into your body every other week. That's devastating. You know, the fact that you're still getting up and moving and all this other shit like that is like, you know, give yourself a rest. And I'm like, I can't do that. You know, I can't do that. But, but that being said, there's comics that I remember when they started. And of course, everybody sucks when they start. And then they get about 2 or 3 years in, and I still think that they suck. But then they find a way to get work, and they do get better. And then they're getting a lot of work and going out of town. And I'm like, God damn it. You know, I mean, it's like I got nobody to blame for myself. Well, that and cancer. But mostly me. So, I don't know. I think I felt really good about the set, the last couple of sets that I've done. Actually, the last one I did in Boulder didn't go well because I took a couple of hits off of a joint, and sometimes I can handle it, sometimes I can't. That was one of the times that I couldn't. I had a little tiny bit of a beer, and I felt like I was way more drunk than I was. And as I was talking to, I think it was like Ryan Bonnell, and he just I kept seeing this look of panic on his face. He's like, "No, Dave, you're okay. You're okay." And I'm like, what am I projecting right now? And I ended up laying a big goose egg when I went up on stage anyways. It's not like it was incoherent. And I saw the video, and I'm like, yeah, I was definitely out of it. I wasn't really connecting with anybody, and I get that. But it was just like, what kind of energy was I throwing out there? That was just really weird. But other than that, the time before that, even the last one that I did over at Harrison Garcia's mic, I've made a couple of jokes about cancer and people laughed at it. And so I was like, holy shit, I made people laugh at death and cancer. I was lucky enough too, I guess. You know what I mean? I'm like, I remember, I'm like, oh wait, actually I'm halfway decent at this. You know, that's something I wasn't going to be able to do like a couple of years in, you know? So I'm like, oh shit. But I think you'll fucking hit Austin and you'll be like, okay, great. I think our trap is we're so raised in that blue collar world that I always have to have a job. I always have to do this. I always got to do that. And we end up prioritizing that over like, well, what fucking made you happy? What made you feel fulfilled? What made you, felt like you had a purpose in life? It wasn't fucking working at a restaurant. You know what I mean? That was just something we knew how to do. You know what I mean?
And it got you through. It got you through.
Mm-hmm.
And also like, man, I mean, it's gonna be a scary jump if I ever make the jump from just being a road / whatever. If this like Santa's my job, it's gonna be the hardest jump of my life. But I think I could do it if I do it the right way and I know how to if I get up, you know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, you're right. It's weird. I need a job.
Yeah.
Even if the job sucks, I need a job on top of this because otherwise, like, it's too much of. I don't know. It's like it's risky, and I don't.
Well, yeah, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But like also like I got bills to pay, so it's like I can't. I'm not the age now where I cannot do that. Some people can when they're like early, like when they're like in like their mid-20s or younger. They could just fucking they don't, you know what I'm saying, they don't have rent to pay, or if they do, they're like paying nothing, and and they don't have a car payment, they don't have other shit to worry about. So financially, so like I gotta have, which sucks and I hate it, but it is what it is. That's the fucking thing that I've got to deal with, and that you deal with too.
Yeah,
Is trying to have like both worlds. That's tough.
Yeah, and it's I always think about, there was this interview with the actor Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because he was doing character work for fucking decades. And like you see him like, oh shit, I didn't realize he was in this movie. Oh, I didn't realize he was in that movie. He was in Spielberg films. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
he was never like a big leading man or anything like that. And then after Malcolm in the Middle, he started getting more notoriety. Then he started getting like other, like Breaking Bad after that, and was doing other films and all this other stuff. And somebody said like, man, you got lucky. He's like, I didn't get lucky. I was working my ass off this entire time. He's like, well, if this stuff wouldn't have happened, what do you think you would have been doing if you hadn't found the success? He's like, I'd still be living in a house with about 5 or 6 other guys, just so that way we could have cheap rent, so we can keep doing auditions all day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. That's interesting. Like, that's just because he loved acting so much. I'm like, wow, that's fucking really cool. So I always have to remember that. See, now, like, obviously, I've got, like, everybody has money issues and stuff, right? I'm lucky enough that I get disability, but, it's still, like, my wife has a pretty good salary, but still, we got to be really careful about what we do and all that other thing. Even though I don't have to go to work every morning. Not that I would be able to, but let's say the thing is, I still have all this time to be creative, and I'm still trying to adjust to that. So I'm like, maybe me having to work, maybe that was just an excuse that I was using, and that's what that for me, for my life, that's what I've been kind of coming to terms with over all this other stuff, because of this past year I've had to do, massive soul searching. So I'm like, all right, so I got to do at least one or two little things every day. I got to do,
Yeah.
And I started making like little videos, like real videos on Instagram. Because I'm too old. I just don't want to go on TikTok. I just really don't.
Oh yeah. Don't.
So
I mean, I did one TikTok video with Christine and Christina, and that's it. That's all I've ever done.
So
I'm too old. almost 42. I'm good.
There's times like I'll go on those reels on Instagram, which is essentially the same thing. It's like a different algorithm. I think TikTok, from what I understand, does it better. But there's times like an hour and a half has gone by, and I'm like, God damn it! And I got really. I mean, some of the things were kind of funny. I mean, there's comedy on there, but I'm like, what did I really get out of this? Like if something wasn't funny, like if it was all political shit, I would probably just be pissed off and everything. But YouTube kind of has their version.
I don't know if it's been happening to you, but it's been happening to me lately. I think this is part, because, like, dude, I had this weird wave of, like, depression hit me Sunday. I don't know what the fuck it came from. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm talking to that friend of mine from San Diego, talking to her. And I just mentioned her, like, she's going through some shit, too. So we're kind of, like, weird, like, like, it's weird how me and her both have been through similar shit.
Right.
So I feel like I can kind of, like, confide in her a little bit. And I was like, yeah, man, and I'm not, and the fucking fucked up thing was, like, I knew what it was. And I was sad, but I wasn't, like, but I was more mad that I felt this way. And I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, this sucks. And I was like, and then I asked her, and she thought, like, oh, I needed help. I was like, no, well, it's not that. I mean, I kind of do, but at the same time, I just needed to be like, yo, is this normal? Does this happen? And she's like, yeah. And then as soon as someone else was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then, like, it fucking went out. And then it finally kind of dissolved at the end of the day, and then I was like, okay, I was tired. But yeah, man, it's just where the fuck we going with that? Sorry, I got hired
earlier. No, no, just going through like just as far as like depression and stuff, when it hits you, sometimes it's like it takes, it's almost equivalent to becoming like having a lucid dream. Like when shit's going really weird, and then you're like, wait a second, this doesn't seem right. Oh, wait, like somebody just threw a pickle that fucking flew around like a boomerang and hit somebody in the back of the head. That doesn't happen. Wait, am I dreaming? Okay. And then everything starts to kind of make sense. When you're going through a bout of depression, which I've had that happen a lot. Depending, like I know one's coming after because it usually hits me like after I get an infusion, and but there'll be times where I'm like I'll get really fucking sad and really angry, and then I'm like, wait a second. Okay, hold on. How much of this is real? You know what I mean? And then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna feel better. I know I am, but yeah, it's fucking it's crazy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, here's something you might just making a note for the time because I might make a clip out of this. So, I've been wanting to do psychedelics for a bit, right?
And, really?
Yeah, because there's one of the things that will help cancer grow is having an unhealthy diet. Like usually one of the first things when it comes to colorectal cancer, they say try to cut out meat if you can and go to just a plant-based diet and everything because you need and also cut out sugar. And that'll give you the best chance because that's how from some people on the internet would say, and this is not advice, guys, for legal reasons, that you got to starve the cancer or at least not give it fuel to keep growing, right? So now, unfortunately, for the tubby guy that I am, obviously, one of my coping mechanisms has always been eating food, especially sweet stuff, the stuff that I wasn't allowed to have when I was a kid, that I always found a way to get anyways, right? So you would think somebody going like, hey, if you keep eating this, you're going to die way sooner than if you hadn't. I'm like, yeah, that should be a reason to stop. No, it's not. Because that's just like that's just the way my brain is wired or hardwired at this point. So I'm like, I need to find a way to change that. I've heard you've told me great stories about mushrooms and stuff, but I didn't want to just like go like, Bear, who do we know that's got, allegedly. And he's done his share of psychedelics and stuff, and he knows about it, so that's why I would ask him about it. But I'm like,
I've done it with him.
Yeah. So. And I was like,
he is a good guy to do that shit with.
Yeah.
If he's gonna do it seriously, he's a great guy because he's very well fucking. He knows the map. He knows the layout. He's a good guy to do drugs with. That's like the highest compliment I can give him on that one.
Yeah.
He's like the best. He's the best guy you can do it with.
Well, I was good. That was kind of my backup plan for the most part because I was contemplating it, but this was also just when I first got my diagnosis, and I'm like, all right, let's not try to fix everything today, But I was talking about this with the counselor at where I get my infusions, and they're like, I think I heard of a study that's going on at this one hospital and stuff about psilocybin in people with stage 3 and stage 4. Let me see if I can find some information. So they got me some info, and then I contacted them, and they're like, I went through questionnaires, like, all right, I think that you would be a good candidate for it's a study on psilocybin on the effects of people with stage 3 and stage 4 cancer. So
really?
Yeah, so I don't know what group. Obviously, I could be in the placebo group, but I would think I would know if I was taking a placebo of psychedelics because they're like, well, the other thing is it's going to be like just a bunch of B12. I'm like, yeah, that's going to make me feel good. That's not going to make me fucking hallucinate. You know what I mean? And so they're, but either way, that's going to be in August. So there's a bunch of counseling that kind of goes along with it too, which is great. So, and hopefully this is, something, this is actually a federally funded study or the federal government is involved in this, along with a couple of, as long as with the campus and these doctors and everything. So
really?
I'm hoping they can get some good information out of it because I'm like, I've heard so many promising things for people with PTSD and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay. So that might be that. And I can't wait to get through to experience this whole entire thing. So that way I can start talking about it on stage and be like, there is a study right now. They're trying to do this thing. If they fucking come back and say, yeah, we didn't really find anything. I'm like, you didn't give me enough drugs, you piece of shit. So
that's fucking great. That's wild though that you're going to be a part of a study like that. That's fucking awesome, by the way.
I'm excited about it because I'm like, this is going to be one of those things where I'm like, yo, man, if you wanted somebody to talk and tell you what they're experiencing, I could be fairly prolific at that. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Between that, the only downside is they asked me not to smoke any marijuana while I'm going through the study.
Boo.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
But
it's a fair trade. It's a fair trade. I can't smoke pot for a while, but you're going to give me mushrooms at the end? Okay. That's fine.
Exactly. It's not like I'm never going to be able to smoke pot again. And I'm not that big into weed, not the way that like you and Bear and a lot of the other guys were. I'm like, yeah.
Bear's a whole different thing.
Yeah, no, because he went too deep. I think he went dab country.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, me and Bear are like we're like soccer. Like he's the Premier League,
yeah,
and I'm one of those crappy fucking like Indonesian leagues that fucking is like 80 steps below them.
Right.
We're both playing the same game.
Yeah. The only thing, what was it you were talking about the one night where you guys were over the Fort Collins and it was like Bob Gaudette and Bear and these guys, both guys who smoke an insane amount of weed and you're trying to keep up with them and you're like, oh God, this is great.
Yeah. Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Could not do it. Yeah.
Like that shit's scary.
Trying to climb a Sinclair dinosaur while I'm stoned out of my mind. Yeah, that's fun.
That's still one of my favorite photos and everything. That was one of the coolest ones, like when your buddy's too high at a dinosaur.
And I'm fucking wrecked holding a dinosaur.
You seem like you were having the best time though. You're just like, eh.
I love it. Anytime I see a Sinclair dinosaur, because when I first moved to Colorado, right, we're on the way there. We're driving. We're up in like the northern part, like the northeast corner of Colorado, and we stopped to get gas at a Sinclair, and they had the goddamn dinosaur.
Yeah.
So I fucking climbed on it, and I asked my brother to take a photo of me on it, and it was like the coolest shit ever. Because I'm like, I took my hat off. I was like, yeah. In the background is all like mountain range and shit like that. It's the coolest, stupidest photo I've ever taken in my life. I was like oddly proud of it.
Well, oh man, that was just funny. So yeah, I've gonna do that. Hopefully, I'll keep everybody posted on that. I'll be posting a lot of shit.
Yeah, I want to hear all about this.
Oh yeah. What was it? Oh, like I said, I was making reels. I'm trying to like, all right, if I have an idea and I know I'm not going to talk about it in my act, I'm like, well, okay. I think of like making a little meme or something as a creative exercise. Like I'm just keeping things moving. So I was, for some reason, I don't know if I was, I got on this kick of like wanting to listen to Scottish bagpipe music.
Okay.
So there was that one little video that I made recently on Instagram where I'm listening to Scotland the Brave, which is like one of their old traditional fucking we're gonna go beat the shit out of somebody type songs. And as I'm listening to this and I'm looking at the comments, and that wasn't my joke, by the way, but people are like, this one guy goes, this song makes me proud to be Scottish. And then the next person goes, I'm from Paris, France, but this song makes me feel proud to be Scottish. And the next person's like, I'm from New Zealand, and this song makes me feel proud to be Scottish. And the guy's like, I'm not Scottish, but this song makes me feel proud to be Scottish. So that's where the joke was. I'm like, I'm in no way Scottish, but the song makes me feel proud to be Scottish. This is weird.
So, I'm Mexican. It makes you proud to be Scottish.
Exactly. And then I tagged my Scottish comedian friend. I'm like, hey, Lubna, how come this song makes me want to hate the English? Like... And I told that to one of my doctors today who is from England, and she thought it was funny. She was like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, did you know movies on the rocks at Red Rocks? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, my husband and I went and they were playing Braveheart, and everybody around me is like, yeah, fuck the English. And I'm like, I think we need to go. Her husband's like, just try not to say anything on the way out. Just like,
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of funny, and I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. But yeah, it's I've been having a little bit more fun. Oh, like, where's the other video that I made? Which, by the way, follow me on Disjointed Pod if anybody's listening to this on Instagram. I learned how to make a custard. Or followed a recipe and stuff, and I never made a custard before. The first one came out okay, the second one not so much. But I'm looking up videos or trying to find a recipe online, and I hate looking up recipes online because I have to deal with some frickin' gal who's on a shitload of mood stabilizers, who's in her 40s, drunk, and felt like she wanted to be creative and decided to make a website that somebody else did, and then it's this weird kind of like, hey, look, I'm just like you ladies, and I'm making some custard. Look, I'm going to make this. And I'm like, I could tell by the look of you that you've never cooked anything. You've never worked in a kitchen. Shut the fuck up. And I was like,
you should, I mean, it's not so nice of you because Christine Tomlinson is not here to defend herself. You shouldn't talk about it like that. Sorry.
She's killing it, by the way.
I figured. I saw that coming from a mile away. I told her that shit when she first started. I'm like, you're going to do something with it.
Yeah.
She's got to drive. She's got drive, man. She's got drive, and she's all in. So
yeah.
You can't. Don't bet against that.
Yeah, exactly.
You put that shit on a tee. I had to hit it.
Yeah.
I had to say something. I had to pick her both.
Yeah. But she, by the whole thing was like, hey, listen, if I'm looking at your website for your recipe and you're about 120 pounds, still pretty, and don't look like you're strung out on coke or drunk as fuck, then I'm probably going to think your recipe sucks. All right. So when I start looking, like I look at on YouTube, all right, how to make custards, I'm like, skinny girl, chubby girl. Let me see what her thing is. Because obviously, if you're going to be talking about like smoked meats and these really fattening dishes that taste great, or like cakes and all this other stuff, like it's really hard to trust like a skinny cook. I'm sorry, it is sometimes. Yeah. I guess I've met some exceptions, but yeah. Either way, I found a recipe from a curvy gal. I don't know where she's from, but it's definitely somewhere in the UK. And I'm like, all right. And the recipe worked, and it tasted great. I'm like, all right, cool. So that's my advice to anybody else is like, I'm thinking I'm wanting to make some cooking videos myself just because I think it's interesting, simple stuff, basically like, all right, just geared towards single dudes. Or like, you're trying to impress a girl. All right, try doing this dish. It's nothing too crazy, right? You just want to make something simple, but make it from scratch and to make them think like, holy shit, oh, this guy put something where they could taste the effort, not necessarily the recipe. You know, and you never want to go too hard. You don't want to be like, hey, I'm going to make you beef Wellington. And we're like, hey, whoa, like that's dick sucking meals. All right. I'm not doing that. All right. Mac and cheese is the only thing I came here for. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's coming on too
ramen,
strong.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's like, hey, it's the first date. Here's a song I wrote about this. And you're like, whoa.
Oh God.
The only thing is like, I know we just met, but if I could just read you some of my poetry, and you're like, oh, fuck. This is what happens when I let a guy fucking ask me out in a coffee shop. I think I deserve it.
Yeah. Like, fucking God damn it.
Should have known. I thought you just had, or oh gosh, what was it? There was a band, they had one or two. They were like a one-hit wonder. It wasn't a horrible band, but it was like a Airborne Toxic Event.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I liked their songs, but I also hated it because it reminded of fucking melodramatic Dave at 22, right?
Yeah.
And I saw part of one of their videos and stuff, and the lead singer, he's on stage, and he has his fucking book of poetry. And I'm like, God damn it, you douchebag. It's like, the only other person I see that to ever kind of pulled that off is when Leonard Cohen, who was a songwriter, was on a talk show in Canada to speak his poetry. This was like a long time ago. And so he came out with his book of poetry, and he would look it up and be like, all right, not necessarily read from it, but, like, this is where that made sense. But if you're just walking around with a book of poetry, that's, I don't know. Is that, like how it's rude to walk around, even if you are carrying a weapon, it's rude to open carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think it is when a guy's walking around with a fucking book of poetry. You know what I mean? Like,
you can figure, like, how most super soft left wingers see that and they get mad about that. You get mad about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, this fucking guy.
Yeah.
We're getting it.
Yeah. That's like for my cousin Jim. That's if I'm walking around at a game store wearing a kilt and with a fucking second edition D&D book. Just hoping somebody's going to say hi to me. And like, oh, let me tell you about this, But it was, we were talking about socializing earlier, and this conversation I was having with Jim not too long ago, that we were talking about the technology on the effects of, like, it was supposed to connect us more, and technically it could still do that, but the personal connection was something that was definitely lost. And so, and he was like, I'm not saying it's the cause for social anxiety. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to be like, oh, these kids today. I'm not fucking going on a rant like that. I'm saying is that, like, you could watch a movie at home now. You could watch a movie on your phone with your earbuds on the bus. You don't have to really be connected to anybody, but before even VHSs or even Betamax or any of that other shit, if you wanted to go see a movie, you had to go to a movie theater and watch it with a bunch of strangers, right? And
yeah,
there was less. I seem to remember less of this as a kid. People talking in movie theaters, and then you kind of always. It's like I love going to the movies, but I hate like. There's always that freaking anxiety. It was like when the like after the previews go down and there's still somebody talking, and it's like they don't give a shit that anybody else. You know, like we all paid fucking $25 to go see this film, right? You know, like could you not ruin it for me? Like I don't give a fuck about you. Could you please? You know, I don't want to hear from you. I want to hear that. Um, so in a way that like technology, it makes us a little bit too comfortable when it comes to interaction. And he was talking about like Jim's a pretty social person. You could put him in any situation, and he's going to find a way to talk to everybody. You know, um, but it was kind of like it was like he runs Crit Hit, that gaming convention. Him and his wife Crystal, and it kind of hit him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is probably this for some of the people, or a decent amount of people who go to that convention. That's the only one of the biggest major social interactions that they're going to have, like on a weekly basis. Unless they're gaming or something, they don't really talk to anybody." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a really, really weird fucking thing." Like some of the rules that he has for his convention and all this other stuff, I thought they were on the surface. It seems like it's like super wokish type stuff, like, hey, you know, and I'm like, is that really that's what's necessary? Or, you know, and I'm just asking questions about it because I don't know about that world. He does, right? And he was like,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
some of the conversations I've had to have with some of the attendants, it's you wouldn't like these guys have no clue how to act if there's another girl around. And I'm like, are they that like that?
Oh,
And he's like, well, like it does make sense, dude, because it's basically a convention for a bunch of people that don't know how to socialize, or haven't figured out to socialize the same way that everybody else has. And he's like,
yeah.
yeah, that's exactly it. That's why I have to fucking put down these rules and stuff, man. Like, you know, and it's just it's a bizarre thing that what people will do, you know, or it's like, how crazy is it that we can lose that type of level of social interaction or skill or ability so fucking quickly? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, how long did it take for, and it's still, I say, an ongoing process as far as like, kind of really stomping out like misogyny, right? I would say like from
Yeah.
like if you look at it from the 40s, the 50s, and then the 60s and stuff like that, and the way that you know there was a lot of issues, and we're getting better. The 70s, it's the most. We're getting there. The 80s and stuff. 90s, it's getting even better. Still got a ways to go. And then the internet comes around with like sending pictures, and we go right back to just showing our dicks to a bunch of people. You know what I mean? And it goes right
Yeah.
back again. And then like there's a dating app that basically breaks down if you know, hey, are you a person that's willing to fuck me without getting to know me? You know what I mean? As far as like
Yeah.
random hookups versus two, and then that within that, there's people who are looking for relationships in that same pool. Then like, hey, I know you don't know me, but are you going to dedicate the next 5 years of your life to me? Or are you worth? I'm like, wait a second, that's not a question you ask. You got to get to know people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That
it's
kind of thing happens. It happens as you go. I mean,
mhm.
it's, you know, you. That's the thing. You look back and you go, "Oh wow, it says 5 years. Holy shit!" You don't go right into the first day going like, "It's like a prison sentence. Next 5 years, your ass is mine."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
I can't. Why are you asking me that? You know, like, do you even? I don't know you. You don't know me. Do you want to hear about Battlestar
Yeah.
Galactica for the next 5 years? No. Ooh, well, too bad
Well,
because we already
this
signed
ain't.
up for
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Well, these next 5 years are gonna be pretty unenjoyable for you. I'm sorry.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Nah, I mean, yeah, I mean that's another thing too. I mean, it takes two to tango. If you're fucking, yeah, it's not it. I actually feel bad for people that are in those situations. That it happens. It happens where like you're with somebody and then they just it's like you know there's differences. You know there's just problems, but you both ignore it.
yeah.
I think it's happened. That's kind of what happened with me and my ex-wife. Is like we both had issues,
Hmm.
and I had issues, she had issues, and I think that we weren't a great match, and we just fought that forever.
Hmm.
You know, and then I think she wanted different shit. I wanted different shit. Like we both kind of went different ways, and then
Yeah.
but we never acknowledged it, and we just tried to pretend like it was still the same, even
Yeah.
though it wasn't. It was like trying to play baseball with a football.
Yeah.
And not acknowledging the fact that it's a football.
Yeah. Technically, you can still do this. I'm like, yeah, but it's not the same, and it's not fun.
It's fucking miserable. It
Yeah.
fucking sucks. Yeah. You know, so but like, you know, and then that's but that's just what happened. And it also like she kind of, you know, I just felt like I was always in trouble when I was with her, and I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
I know that
feeling. That's a stupid. You should never, as an adult, you should never feel like that. And if you do, that's a giant red flag for whoever.
Yeah,
it's a red flag where you gotta go. Stop. What the fuck's happening? Because I'm not gonna be in that situation ever. I'm not gonna go home and be like, "Oh, wife's gonna kill me." Nah, fuck all that. Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm a grown ass fucking man. I mean, if she's mad because I promised something and I didn't deliver, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go out tonight, and she's like, well, I'm gonna be mad. Well, then I guess we shouldn't date anymore.
Yeah, that's probably that's the wise move. That after somebody's made a shitload of mistakes, is like, oh, wait a second, I'm not gonna put up with this. So the I still feel bad a lot about how my first marriage went down, but at the same time, like when I think about it, I'm like, man, that whole entire relationship should have just been a weekend and not try to turn it into a big, long relationship. If it was like a weekend or two, like if my first wife, if all we did was hook up for a couple of weeks until we decided we didn't want it, we wanted to move on to other things, I think everything would have been fine. And I could have saved everybody a lot of heartache. And I don't know. I'm only, the reason why I'm talking about that, I don't think the whole thing was my fault, but I can only talk about what I was responsible for, and so, you know what I mean? But
there's always a role to play.
Yeah.
There's always a role to play. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Otherwise, otherwise, it's going to repeat itself.
Yeah.
If you don't, if you don't acknowledge what part you had in it, and you just think that you're the victim and that's it.
Yeah.
You're gonna run it. You're gonna do the same fucking thing again. Yeah. Same fucking thing's gonna happen at the end, and you're gonna have to start square one again. Right. You got to learn your mistakes, man.
Yeah.
That's part of the deal. It sucks because it makes you humble, because it makes you go, oh no, I was a fucking idiot. Yeah. That's what's up there.
This might turn into a bit, but it was like a loose premise that I've been working with when it comes to because like I said, I've been spending a decent amount of time on YouTube and stuff, and I find it odd that so many of us human beings can't understand that human beings love to believe in stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, because there's stupid shit exists everywhere. We all fucking believed in it. It doesn't matter, unless there's is there somebody out there that never bought into Santa Claus when you were a kid?
Yeah, right.
Santa Claus is stupid shit. Everybody believed it. Because they told it to you, and you're like, yep, that makes sense. So when somebody shits on somebody else for being religious, and I'm like, you never believed in stupid shit? They don't believe it's stupid shit. It works for them, just because it doesn't work for you. But you're like, well, it causes a lot of problem. Yeah, well, so does so many other things, man. People need to be educated. Yeah, I used to believe that until after the last 2 fucking years when I saw people who were really highly educated believe in stupid shit. Yeah. Everybody believes in stupid shit. It doesn't matter how smart or how much you read. There's always a chance that you're going to believe in some stupid shit. You know what I mean? And like Paul McCartney getting married a second time after his wife Linda McCartney passed away. You know what I mean?
Oh God!
And he's like, "Hey, listen, I know what I'm doing." Yeah. Everything. No, you got sucked into some stupid shit, dude.
Yep.
That's what happened. It happens to the best of us, man. And it's really bizarre. That and what was the other thing? The concept that I had. Oh, I thought it's interesting how there's words that have one meaning, but they have a completely different subtext to it, right? Like, if you want to study something, you should read up on it. And that is called doing your own research, right?
Yeah.
But the phrase, hey, I did my own research, or you probably did your own research, or doesn't matter who's saying it to who, the subtext is the same, is I think you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, I did my own research. Like I studied it. You didn't. You're a fucking idiot. Oh, you probably did your own research, which I'm guessing I think you're a fucking idiot, and you don't want to listen to people smarter than you. The other guy's thinking, you would rather just listen to other people that you hope that are right instead of doing it's like this weird thing that everybody's like this insult that we throw back at each other, then want to know why everybody's so divided.
Well, it's because I figured it out. It's 2 groups. There's 2 groups of people. There's people that want to control other people. There's people who want to be left the fuck alone. And the problem is that the people who want to control people are always the ones fucking shit up and making us all feel like shit. And then the people who want to be left alone don't really tell people, like emphasize to leave me the fuck alone. And they get sucked into this shit, and then they start battling. That's basically what it is. You know, most people I think a lot of people just leave me the fuck alone. Like when it comes to the government, it's basically like, here's $40, go build some roads, get the fuck out of my life.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. And the problem is like, well, there was a kid who ate this thing, so now we all have to ban it. It's like, well, he's an idiot. Why did he try to eat a fucking lawn dart?
Yeah.
I can't have lawn darts because a couple kids are assholes with them. Great, thanks. Yeah. You know, and it's just, we're gonna save you shit. And I'm like, no, George Carlin said it the best. He goes, but he's talking about, I can't get a half a decent fucking cheeseburger in this fucking country. Fucking, what is fucking foodborne illness kill? A couple million people a year? Who gives a shit? The minor risk. The minor risk.
That's there is like this balance between like security and freedom, right? And the part that always leads me but this is the part I think that a lot of other folks they forget about. Like, there's never living is fucking difficult. Making decisions is fucking difficult. Even though technology exists in a world of ones and zeros, the rest of life is just a little bit more complicated than that, right? So when you see like fucking like, I experienced this, and you've experienced this probably as well as being in a management position. Everybody hates the guy telling them what to do until there's nobody there telling them what to do, and shit starts to go wrong. And then suddenly nobody wants to fucking take a leadership or fucking get to the helm. It's strange. I attribute it to being on a fucking city bus or something, and everybody's bitching about the guy who's driving, and he goes, all right, you know what, fuck it. Just opens the door and jumps out. And then everybody's like, well, who the fuck's got to drive? I'm like, not me. Yeah. I ain't fucking taking responsibility. And like, this is the disdain that people who actually have it, who are in charge of shit, have for people that they have for that, you know, being in charge of. And that's not good. Yeah. Like, it's really not productive. But at the same time where I'm like, somebody's going to have to fucking be in charge if we want to get this done. You know, you want roads built, you want anything created, anything that's made that you didn't make, somebody's got to be in charge. And it's when the folks like go on about freedom, and I'm like, great, maybe include the responsibility that you're going to offer up with that, instead of saying, just let me do whatever the fuck I want to do. I'm like, I can't do that because you might be doing something that fucks up everybody else's thing. Tell me what you're going to do to be responsible for this shit. You know what I mean? It could be a simple thing like, hey, I think I want to own a 50 cal. Okay. And like, I'm not gonna walk around with it. Okay, that makes more sense. I feel a little bit better knowing that you're not gonna try to open carry a 50 cal fucking rifle that can kill a semi. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, we're weird shit like that, and it's so bizarre. Or even on the other side of that, people who want all this rules and safety and everything. I'm like, so you want all these rules? Great. What are you gonna do to be responsible about this stuff? He's like, because if the ever thing is, no, I want somebody else to be responsible. Like a government or anything, like, that's where you fucking lose me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I was in middle management. It's a stupid fucking reason. I understand that, guys. As I say it, I know it's fucking stupid. But I've seen people. I had a server that would blatantly just say out loud, "Don't seat Mexicans in my fucking section."
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah, and I complained to HR about it. Everybody else complained about it. HR came to the restaurant. Does anybody want to say anything about this? Nobody said anything to them. They all clammed the fuck up. And then I got in trouble for singling out a person who was super fucking racist. So at the time they were. I'm going to give them the opportunity. They might have grown up. They're probably fucking hooked up with the Mexican right now as we speak. But like, and I would put that person in the category of being raised in a very shit environment, not necessarily being a fucking evil person, you know, as much as it pains me to admit that. But I've seen humanity fail when it comes to actually stand up for something that's supposed to be good. So I have, that's my cynical freaking view of it. I'm like, I've seen people fail at it too many times. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
no, it's true. It's the thing is that people they want all the freedoms, but they don't want the responsibility. But also the fact that there's a lot of people out there who think that people can't do the responsibility, so they assume that they can't, so they never give them the opportunity to because they think they're dumb or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the part that makes me more. That part, the second part makes me more angry than the first.
Yeah.
The first one is just people being people, but the second one is someone's really telling you, "I don't have faith in you. You can't have this responsibility. That's it." And it's like, no, fuck you. I'm an adult. I can do what the fuck I want. As long as I'm not fucking anybody else up with what I'm doing, then who gives a shit?
Well,
but they don't want to hear that.
I agree with that, but then there's QAnon.
Okay.
Right? People that got really sucked into of Q being this insider, sending secret messages to everybody, and they felt smart that they were able to decipher and all these other things and these clues and stuff, right? And people got really sucked into that. Now, at the basis of that, of the whole QAnon thing, is that it was dealing with child sex trafficking, right? Which is one thing the most folks that shit on QAnon people and stuff, like, how can you get involved in it? Like, they thought they were doing a good thing. Like, there's no other side to child sex trafficking. There's just, it's fucking evil. You know what I mean? And
I tinfoil hat. I put a little tinfoil hat on. I think that was by design. Patrice O'Neal has a great joke where he goes, he's talking about Alex Jones and shit, right? He goes, it's like he goes 2 + 2 is 4, and everyone agrees. And then he goes 2 + 2 is 4, and then he shoves marbles up his ass. And everyone's like, why is he shoving marbles up his ass? But in this society, we go, well, if he's doing that, then 2 + 2 isn't 4. You know what I mean? And that's the point he was making. And it's a great point, because he's just like, just because it's crazy, or it's coming from a crazy person, if it's legit and it sounds legit and it's worth looking into, you might want to look into it.
Right.
And I think what they did was they made these fucking people out to be fucking insane. And they're crazy. I got family members who are into shit, who are into it. I got a couple cousins and an uncle that love it. They love it. They're like, oh, JFK Jr. is going to come back from some sea abyss and take over the presidency and fucking but then resign and give it to Donald Trump or some fucking crazy, insane shit.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, like there is some weird child shit going on, and they were kind of on top of it. So I think they threw the crazy blanket on the fire, hoping that everyone would just not look at it and just dismiss it as if it's crazy.
I've seen
it's the same reason why that new movie's not. It's making money, but no one wants to fucking air it. No one wants to fucking
It's playing at the theater that's close by my house. I think I'm actually going to go try to see it at some point this week.
I would now just out of just sheer curiosity.
Yeah.
Honestly.
It's weird. It's I don't know, man. People are so fucking weird. So I think, and it's going to be a fucking painful thing. I think there's going to get to a point where, I think this is the reason why a lot of people don't give a shit about the alien stuff right now. Right?
No.
Because at some point, all the stuff that we think is so important in our lives, if we're going to have to realize that this doesn't mean shit. Like, if you find out there's a whole other race of fucking sentient beings, we're like, all right, we were trying to help you guys out, but listen, now we're going to tell you, you need to do this. And we're going to say, fuck you. Oh, that's really interesting. Check that. Is that your battleship? Wow, cool story, bro.
So, I have a theory on that. And that part will be very popular.
All right. You think it's a
No. I think what we need to do from the future on, we need to get autistic people into office. No, we do. We need to pick, because they are the ones, when they have a thing that they care about, that they are hyper fixated on it.
Right.
And nothing throws them off. Not money, not women, nothing. You know what I'm saying? So we need some autistic dude who's just really into his shit about this. That way we can get an honest answer about what's happening.
The only problem...
You can't buy that guy. You can't be, you know what I'm saying? You just can't. You fucking can't.
You know what's going to happen? There's going to be a sneaky dude in there that is just basically just an asshole. And they're like, no, I have Asperger's. Like, no, you're just an asshole.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But it's just that movie with a doctor who has got autism. That fucking show, The Good Doctor, what's it called?
I don't know.
It's a doctor show with a dude's got autism, right?
Oh, okay.
So he's kind of flaky, he's all over the fucking place, kind of like, whatever, like how Shane Gillis says they're like cats.
Yeah.
Just kind of skittish, you don't know if they like you. That's the way, but he knows everything. Like he's like a savant about it. Like he's fucking, He knows everything, and it just recalls it immediately.
Yeah.
But like, he's also like, just he's not blinded by women. He doesn't care about money. He just was like, I need to do this. This is the thing I need to do. Like, I don't know. I think they're the future, man. I think we should, you know what I'm saying? Get him in the office and fucking just be like, go get it.
There's this is what conversation I had with Derek Blanton a while back. Yeah, Trump is still in office, and he's like, I think it's a fucking waste of money. We got people who are homeless on the streets, and you want to spend money on Space Force? I'm like, yeah. Like, you think that's a good use of our resources? We have other problems here on home. I'm like, yeah. By the way, I've watched Star Wars at least 50 times in my life. Yes, I want a fucking spaceship. Yes, I want fucking weapons. Yes, I want all this stuff. They're like, what about the homeless people? Are they going to help me fucking fight aliens? No, then fuck,
Yeah.
I don't know. But shit, it's been over an hour, man. This is probably a good place to end. I have nothing coming up, and I have nothing to plug. Other than that, guys, if you're interested in comedy in Colorado, definitely check out disjointedpod.com. This is a weird thing. I changed up how the list looks because the list was really, really long because it was just one scroll down list and everything. So I split it up by day. So that way it's just you put your thing on like, the open mics thing and drop down on what day, and then that list comes up. And I'm like, nice. I wonder if I've started getting less views from that. And my cousin's like, well, because he works in a lot of website stuff, he's like, actually, that stands to reason because younger people, if they have to hit another button, they would rather scroll for a long time than have to hit another button. And I'm like, really? Are you serious? And he's like, yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to try it this way for another month or two, and then I might switch it back. But I'm like, but either way, if you guys want to see how that website, there's a bunch of other shit on there. Go check it out.
Nice.
I still get hits on the Arizona page every now and then.
Makes sense.
I have that. I delisted that. That's not on my website anymore. But it still pops up for that. I don't even know what the main list for Phoenix is. I'm sure.
I don't even know, man.
I don't care.
Because, yeah.
I don't know. I've heard it from a couple of other comics who've done some stuff in Phoenix, and they're like, yeah, the Phoenix comics really aren't funny. They're not they're saying they're not funny. They're not friendly towards anybody else. And I'm like, yeah, it was that way when I started, and it just kind of continued and stuff. There's very little camaraderie and stuff that I remember. So it was like, best of luck to you.
It's got it from the outside looking in. I've only done one open mic, which was with you.
Yeah.
But as far as Facebook and all that stuff goes, this is why I kind of was like, when people were like, you should do it in Phoenix. I was like, I don't think so. Yeah. Is that it has a weird like a weird crab in the bucket feel.
Yeah, no, big time.
Yeah, and I don't like that. That's unhealthy for me.
I haven't seen a lot of people freaking actually consistently work the road out of, at least from the comics that I started with. I know one person that would do that. But for the most part, and that's Amy Blackwell, she was actually doing stuff on the road for a bit. But, yeah, other than that, a lot of my other friends and stuff, I don't know if they ever continued with it. But, I don't know. Either way, Arizona, I freaking offered to make a list for you guys a while back and stuff. I'd asked you guys to give me some info, like, hey, if you have a mic, and very few people ever hit me up. And then other folks have had showcases that want me to promote. I'm like, I'm not going to promote your showcase or your fucking bringer show, actually. It was, there's a lot of that there too. And I'm like, all right, whatever. But that's just how businesses work in Arizona. If they don't see money right off the bat, then they just assume it's going to failure. They don't actually want to build anything. And yeah, you can fucking quote me on that, guys. Other than that, now that I've shit on Arizona, and I think it's probably a good place to end it. All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna have. There's gonna be some other episodes. Should be a new Disjointed coming out within the next day or two with Sylvie Green, another old AMDA buddy. And other than that, guys, thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Y'all have a great week. Oh, signing off for We Talkin'. I'm Dave.
I'm Jake.
Y'all have a great week.
Hell yeah.
All right, audio's out.